is Steve Nelson. I'm the owner, operator of the Reptile I Am. I was really excited to get the opportunity to come up here and be in front of you high schoolers and give some sort of presentation. Now, this is not a normal presentation on reptiles that I would normally present to like a first grade class or something like that. We brought some really interesting, couple things I wanted to go over real quick with everybody. So, reptiles are a class of vertebrates that includes your snakes, lizards, turtles, and crocodilians. So those are your four main categories that basically make up all of them. As everybody knows, they are cold-blooded. So what cold-blooded means is cold-blooded animals cannot generate their own body. So that would mean to get it directly from the sun by laying out or basking, or possibly basking on a rock that's already had some temperature from the sun hitting it. For us, we're warm-blooded mammals, so we're able to regulate our own body temperatures. They can't do that. So, a couple other things about what we're going to go over today is going to be the difference. You have your arboreal species, which is going to live in the trees, up in the canopies. Your terrestrial species, which is going to be your ground dwellers, your burrowers, and things like that. We also have our aquatic snakes. What we're going to look at is going to be the difference between looking at an arboreal in the trees versus terrestrial. So as we're pulling some of these animals out, some of the things that I want you to look at is going to be the structure of the face and the snout. On your terrestrial species, you're going to have a lot more rounded off nose because that's going to help them with slithering through the leaves, the brush, and things like that, and being able to burrow. If you want to go ahead, let's go ahead and pull out our Vietnamese Blue Beauty. Now, this is a Vietnamese Blue Beauty. This is an arboreal snake, so it wants to be up in the trees. So one thing that we're going to notice is with your arboreal snakes, they tend to be longer, but they have kind of a narrow body to them. Now, one thing that's really unique with this form is it kind of has a triangular base to its overall structure. That is so that when it's in the trees, the rain hits the top of its body and it just slides right off of it, and the snake doesn't have to stop hunting or whatever it's doing. Another really cool characteristic of your arboreal snakes is they have an exceptionally long tail. As everyone can see, this snake has got me, okay? This is exact reason why. This snake can hang from that small tail and snatch birds, rodents, all sorts of stuff. So it has to have that longer tail to it. So something else that's really interesting about these is if you look basically from where my hand is here towards the head, it's kind of one base color, okay? As my hand slides about down here, it changes again. It goes checkered in the middle, and at the end it goes striped. The reasoning for that is due to overall trying to camouflage itself. Something else that's really interesting with these is in the wild, or even in their enclosures at home when I open them, they will be laid in there and they will be all sorts of crooked. What it is trying to do is it's actually trying to look like one of the roots that you would see growing on the ground or directly up the side of a tree. It's just another way that it's able to use camouflage to be able to survive and be able to eat. So, really cool animal with this, and like I said, guys, there's an enormous difference in the overall size, length, and body. Now, we're going to put this one up, but I want everybody to kind of look at the nose on this animal. I won't bring it over on you like that. If somebody's nervous, I'm not going to approach them with the animal. Rest assured of that. Anybody leaving this room with fear from me, I have not done my job. My job is to make sure that people know that snakes aren't whatever they're being painted out to be. And guys, don't close yourself off to such wonderful animals by having an unprecedented fear. You just don't have to do it. But like I was saying, we're looking at the face. This one has a little bit more elongated snout. The reason I point that out is because here in a minute we're going to pull out a terrestrial, which let's go ahead and do that. Bamboo or mandarin, either of those. So you see the nose is a little bit more elongated. On the next one that they're going to pull out, it's rounded. And like I said, that's because it wants to be able to cut through the ground, the loose dirt, and these love to burrow. The one that the First Lady is bringing around, this is a bamboo rat snake. It's also called the Red Mountain Racer. You can definitely see the shine coming off of that animal, and it has nothing to do with the animal being wet or slimy. This is an exceptionally fast animal. That's why they call it the Red Mountain Racer. I'm going to put this one up. Mine also aren't jumpy because we've done a lot of handling. Another cool feature with this snake, and why I initially got it, when they get aggressive and they're upset, they can flare out their neck down to about here, and it just looks insane. But mine are happy and they don't do it. I guess it's a double-edged sword. I wished I could show you, but that would also mean stressed, upset animals. So in the way that we care for them, we don't really get that. But it is kind of a cool feature. These are also the type of snakes that you might see on a social media meme.
Bamboo.
When they open their mouth, the way that their mouths are shaped, they look like they're smiling. So a lot of people will take a picture of that animal. It's hard to explain, but like I said, we don't have the defensiveness for them to show that, nor would I want her to go ahead and tag me anyways. With that being said, any bite from something like this is really superficial, guys. It can't hurt you. The only way that it can hurt you is if it happened to get to an eyeball. So you're going to keep that away because that's our most precious point. But a lot of these snakes, it would be like getting pinched by your brother or sister, and they probably went harder on you than what the snake would. With that being said, we've been trained that getting bit is not a good thing since we were little, so that's why everybody has a fear of that. But it's not exactly what you think it is. I will say, even if I get bit and I don't move, my thermostat changed 10 degrees on my forehead. It's just part of it. And they're highly sought after because of their gorgeous colors and patterns. And a lot of times when you see those loud colors, that's nature trying to scream at you, I'm dangerous. And that's just not the case with these. So that's kind of what tricked me out on these, is they're not venomous. Which brings up another point, guys. Snakes are venomous, not poisonous. There are a few very small amounts of snakes that have the ability to do both, but most of the time that's due to whatever they're eating in nature. So the way you can distinguish the difference between venomous and poisonous is, if you bite it and you die,
it's venomous. Poisonous.
Oh,
poisonous.
If it bites you and you die, it's venomous. So Snow White bit the apple. The apple was poison. That's what put her out. So there's kind of a common misconception when it comes to your reptiles that reptiles are poisonous. Oh no! Now she's in my gold. All right. So, oh no, baby, that's white gold. Don't tell me. I paid for it. I know the difference. So what I want to do now is we're going to pull out kind of a best of both worlds type deal, and we're going to pull out an Asian king rat snake. Now, your Asian king rat snakes can kind of go either direction, and they may live in the trees, they may live on the ground, either direction. You want to flip-flop with Riley and let Riley go ahead and float Rex around? So another really cool thing about the Asian rat snakes, or the, well, Asian rat snakes, yeah, but the Asian king rat snake is, they go through a change called an ontogenetic change, okay? That means as a baby, I look like this. As an adult, I do not look like this no more. So, this is our boy Rex, Asian king rat snake. And this is a juvenile. It's not the best expression of the ontogenetic because she's already started changing. But these animals here are actually a light tan with a red stripe going down them, and they do not have yellow until they start their change. You can see some of the red striping still. It makes it look intimidating. It really kind of does. So,
Yes, I can. Shut up. I love snakes. The tiny ones, not the big ones. That snake. Oh, it's kind of cute. Hi.
So this is a fairly young female. Oh, you getting some camera time, baby? So this is a fairly young female. I would say she's about 6 months old. We don't have an exact age on Rex here, but I'm guessing he's probably 4.5 or 5. So you can see the difference in the overall size of the animals. And you can see by the back part of him, she's just trying to start getting some of her dots, some of her yellow dots. It's starting to come in. But they do tend to go through a really dramatic change. So another one, which if you floated him around, we will go ahead and pull out the Japanese blues. All right. So the next ones that we're going to pull out actually shows a much better expression of the change. These are Kunisher Island Japanese rat snakes. Now, all 3 of these snakes that are out right now are the same species. Okay? This little girl here is a juvenile.
Oh, it's tiny.
Now, these are supposed to be Japanese blue rat snakes. I can see some blue sheen coming through, but to the untrained eye, you wouldn't be able to see. So, this is, and we'll keep floating because we can show. This is what I'm talking about with the color change. So we start with this and we can end with that. That is an ontogenetic color change. Same species of animal, totally different. Right, so it's kind of getting a grayish blue tint. Now, obviously you can see a differentiation in the color versus this female here is kind of a bluish green teal. And the male is a super, super blue. He's got blue and purple on his belly. If Ginny hasn't shown you, I think that's one of his coolest features. We don't know. First of all, we bought this one. We didn't breed it. We're trying. But we don't know what coloration this one is actually going to be. If it's going to be the greenish or the blue. The difference between the two is this is actually what they would consider a mainland Japanese rat snake, and they tend to get a little bigger. This female is about 1.5 years old. This is about a 5-year-old male. She's all over him on catching up on size, and she's going to bone crush over him. She's going to be a lot bigger. So we're excited to see what ends up coming out of this, but like I said, that gives about the best impression that you can get of an ontogenetic change. It's kind kind of cool, huh? It's kind of cool. Sometimes science is cool, man. For real. Anybody have any questions or anything for me right now or anything before we kind of transition into the next thing? You know I love that. Everybody's been so quiet, and that just lets you know that, oh, I was just getting ready to make a point. Go ahead and blow it out and see. I thought I did so good, nobody had to ask questions. What you got for me, sis?
Okay, so I wanted to know, like, how did you get into, like, the animals? Like, how did you get into reptiles, maybe?
Well, we're out of time. I guess we'll see you guys. Okay, so the honesty of it is, Dude, I just grew up in Missouri. I grew up going down into the creeks and playing with crawdads and stuff. I'm allergic to poison ivy, so that kind of keeps me out of that side of things. So I spend a majority of my time at the creek. In doing so, you come across a lot of your reptiles and stuff because they want to come down and sun on the flat rocks. And that's really where it started. I didn't even know there was a name for what I was doing other than kind of being barefooted and hillbilly, you know. I didn't know any different. I was just a little kid and it's what I did. Now, I don't say that people should go out and do that, especially when I talk about being in the creeks. There's only so many venomous reptiles in our area, but most of them gravitate around water, guys. So that's something to keep in mind. You got your cottonmouth and you got your copperheads, which people get those two mixed up all the time. And the flip side is, there's a northern water snake that looks like both of them. It can be really dangerous to just go out thinking that you should snag up a snake. Especially with what you guys saw on this change from the juvenile versus an adult. A lot of our snakes in the Midwest that we would see outside, they look very similar when they're a shoestring. And you can't hardly tell the difference until it's too late. So, on some of your venomous stuff, at that size, I would tell everybody it's a bad idea, first of all. But you will see a little bit of differentiation as for a color on the end of the tail. You might see orange splashes or something like that. That's never a good idea to advance on. With that being said, we got orange splashes on other juveniles too. Like I said, there's so many that are false impressions at that size. They almost have to start sprouting and growing some for us to see that sort of thing. The number one thing that I'm going to look for, now what I see versus what you guys see is also going to be different from my overall amount of time out in the field. You're looking for a triangle head, guys, and it is noticeable. It is noticeable, especially on like some of your younger venomous stock. Point it over here like I have some. I ain't even got it over there.
No venomous.
On your younger venomous stuff, the head almost seems too big for the little body. It looks like it should be weeble wobbling, but it is an exact triangle. You can see the jaws on the outside of it. Don't ever look at the cat eye and think, I know that this is what this is. Because eyes dilate with the light. That's not something you can watch. The professional answer and the get off the ropes answer is flipping it over and looking at the belly scales, of which you should never do that because you're going to scoop up a snake that could be the wrong snake anyways. So I always tell everybody, because they ask, hey man, is this snake dangerous? No, leave it alone. It ain't got no arms or legs, guys. It can't do nothing. And I go out into some snaky places that you guys probably shouldn't go because you should find snakes. I go out hunting them. I don't always catch them. So it's not as easy to go out and find them as what everybody might think it is.
I have a question.
Right.
What's it called when you go out and look for reptiles?
It's called herping, baby. Herping is what it is called. Herpetology is the overall study of reptiles and amphibians in the field. So herping. We go out herping. We go out looking for snakes, whatever we can find. Now, we also don't cross that over with our collection because you can bring in a lot of nasty stuff. Sickness, parasites, ticks, all sorts of stuff. Here we go. What you got this time?
What's the main parasite that can be found on snakes?
Oh, that's a tough one, but I'm going to go with mites and ticks. Just like we would go out and get ticks, same difference. They'll crawl up under the scales. They can push the scales up, cause all sorts of all sorts of bad stuff, because when that scale comes up and that snake's slithering through something, you can introduce bacteria, infection, and things like that, and that's kind of going on the lowest part of their body. So you want to watch that sort of stuff so we don't cross-contaminate. But guys, we are starting to kind of run down to the nitty-gritty. I wanted to get everybody a little bit of time for anybody that was interested to come up, look at the displays. We're gonna pull out.
Hold on, guys. Wait.
We're gonna pull out the ball pythons, and we'll let people kind of circulate around this way. Now, this next part's really important. If you're gonna touch them, let's sanitize. But more important than sanitizing now, if you touch them, sanitize your hands before you leave. All reptiles carry salmonella in their saliva, okay? That is just for your guys' safe side of things. Salmonella. Well, you can get it that way too.
Don't move.
You're gonna have one of these and you're scared? I like this one. And if you guys like this type of stuff,
I think you guys would have a lot of fun looking at our Facebook, YouTube, everything like that. We do. We got over 300 videos, and I would love if you guys would.
Thanks for watching, friends of ARIA. Be sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell for future content. Welcome to the revolution. Welcome to the Army. Guys, when it comes to efficiency and running this is a different class than we've been doing, by the way. When it comes to running the ball game and running the show,